What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another edition of the Red Sox Rundown. I am your host, Jack. Before we get into the video, we are about at the midway point of our Boston trip. We are here until Sunday, and we're only going to a few more games, and we're going to have some time to kill. Name a place that you think we should go eat in Boston. Give us some recommendations. We're not from here. We don't know all of the great spots. So let us know. Give us a spot down below in the comments where we should go eat. And if we do, I will shout you out on a future video. So make sure you get those recommendations down below in the comments. All right, so last night's game got postponed. It got rained out. We are going to be at both games later today. So no game to really talk about. I'm not really going to talk about the first 3 innings of the game that happened last night. We'll talk about both games in the doubleheader tomorrow after they're done. I will again be at both games and hope to get you guys some highlights and some content from those as well. So today we're going to just talk about the first story that I had, and that is another Sandy Alcantara trade rumor. His name has been heavily linked to the Red Sox over and over and over again. And Reuter of Bleacher Report came out with an article of 10 fresh MLB trade ideas 1 month from the 2025 trade deadline. And he specifically linked the Red Sox to Sandy Alcantara. I don't love this trade. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I am not a fan of trading for Sandy Alcantara, but we will talk about the trade idea. We will talk about what Reuter said about Alcantara and the pieces that would go back to Miami in return. But first things first, let's get through into the trade details. The Red Sox would get Sandy Alcantara. The Marlins would receive Franklin Arias, Jhostynxon Garcia, and David Sandlin in the trade. There are a lot of reasons why I am not a fan of this particular trade proposal. I have issues with, one, what the Red Sox would be getting in Sandy Alcantara, and I also have an issue with the return that Miami would be getting as well. Let's just talk first about Sandy Alcantara. I'm going to talk about what Reuter had to say, and then I'll give my thoughts, but I'm just not on the Sandy Alcantara bandwagon like a lot of people are. Here's what he had to say. He said, at first glance, Sandy Alcantara is having a tough season with a 6.98 ERA and a 1.48 whip over 80 innings of work in his return from Tommy John surgery. But after a good stretch of starts, he was knocked around on Saturday, where he allowed 10 hits, 7 earned runs against the D-backs. However, the 2022 Cy Young Award winner still represents a potential impact addition to a team's rotation for the playoff push. His 2.74 ERA in 27 innings over his previous 4 starts looked like a step towards regaining his frontline form. The 29-year-old has a $17.3 million salary for 2026 and a $21 million club option for 2027, so he is more than just a rental. Any return package would need to reflect that remaining control. I'm not a fan of this at all, and I will tell you guys why in a second. But first, you let me know, would you trade for Sandy Alcantara? Before I give you my thoughts, before I go over any of the people that the Marlins would be getting back in return, I just want to hear your general thoughts. Would you trade for Sandy Alcantara? Is he a name that you're interested in at the deadline? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know your thoughts. I know it's a divisive topic. I know I'm not a big fan of him. I know a lot of people are a big fan of him, though. I totally get it. You let me know. Get your thoughts down below in the comments. And if a trade does happen, we will have you covered, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we're going to be at the doubleheader today. I'm going to be posting highlights and different content throughout the rest of the day. And then, every day, daily videos around the Boston Red Sox. Hit the subscribe button. Don't miss out and join the family. So like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't want Sandy Alcantara on this team. Reason number 1, coming off of Tommy John, he has struggled. He has not looked good. He had a 4-game stretch of solid outings, which is great. But then he gets absolutely lit up by the D-backs, who are playing okay baseball, but not the best baseball in the world this year. He has not shown enough for me to believe and also give up enough like they're asking for. I get the 2 years of club control. That is valuable, but If he never fully gets back to his Cy Young form, is it worth giving up 3 of your top prospects in the system after Meyer and Anthony graduate? I don't think so. I think that you are best suited getting a different starting pitcher. And maybe it is a rental where you don't have to pay as much, and then you go into free agency and there are a lot of really interesting, appeasing options in free agency. So I'm not a fan of this particular trade in general, and I'm not really a fan of a Sandy Alcantara trade at all. He just has not looked himself this year. And you've got the injury concerns coming off of Tommy John. It's just not something that I'm in for. It sounds like a Walker Buehler or a Lucas Giolito type retread. I'm not saying he is as bad as them. I know he's won a Cy Young. I know that he has that track record, but I don't feel like bringing in, a kind of a semi-reclamation project who's coming off of Tommy John and has struggled mightily this year. It just sounds like another middle of the rotation guy that's going to give up 5-6 runs every game. Like again, a Walker Buehler. We thought he was going to be great this year. He has struggled mightily. We don't need another one of those pitchers on this team with injury concerns. It's just not worth it to me. So I personally would not do this trade. But let's get into the return that Miami would receive. First off, shortstop Franklin Arias would be the top prospect in the Red Sox system once Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer exhaust their eligibility. He's hitting .302, .353, .410 with 20 extra base hits in 64 games between single A and high A as a 19-year-old. If he is going to be your top prospect, and look, he's played very well this year, and all things are trending towards him being your number one prospect in your system once Anthony and Meyer graduate. If that's the case, Sandy Alcantara is not worth your number one prospect in your system. I get it. Your system's not going to be as good or as heralded as it has been in the past few years with Meyer, Anthony Campbell, and at times Teal in that system. But giving away your number one prospect, a young 19-year-old that has really great upside and really great potential, it's just not worth it to me. It is not worth Sandy Alcantara, who again has struggled mightily this year. I just would not do it. But honestly, the name that even makes me less want to do this trade is Jhostynxon Garcia, the password, who has been absolutely tearing up AAA. I get it. You don't need another outfielder, this, that, the other thing. I understand that. But he has incredible upside. He is an absolute cheat code in AAA. It's not like him alone, I don't even think would be worth it, because I think you could get something better for him. And I really like David Sandlin as well. I think he has very high upside as a right-handed pitcher as well. This would be an incredible return for Miami, and I honestly believe this would be an absolute fleece job by Miami, and I think the Red Sox would lose this trade handedly. I would not touch this trade with a 15-yard pole. I would not do it, because you are giving up 3 incredibly talented prospects for a pitcher who is coming off Tommy John, who has struggled mightily and has been incredibly inconsistent. That is not what I want on my team if you're trying to make a playoff push. The last thing we need is another inconsistent starting pitcher. You need someone who is a little more consistent, a little more solid. And I get it. Sandy Alcantara is a big name, and that would be a big trade, but it is not a smart trade in my opinion. So at the end of the day, this trade is a resounding no for me. Like I already said, I would not touch it with a 15-yard pole. It's just not worth it. I'm fine packaging these players for somebody else, but I'm not fine giving up 3 of your top prospects for a Sandy Alcantara, who, yes, has club control for the next 2 years, and that's incredibly valuable, and that fits the Red Sox mold. But I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. But you let me know. Would you accept that particular Sandy Alcantara trade? The Red Sox receive Sandy Alcantara. The Marlins receive Franklin Arias, Jhostynxon Garcia, and David Sandlin. Would you accept that trade in specific? Type A for accept, type D for decline. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts, because again, for me, it's a resounding no. I would not do it whatsoever. That's where we're going to end the video, guys. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch. It's a little bit of a shorter video today, but we're not recapping any games because the game got rained out. Like I've already said numerous times, I will be at the doubleheader today. I will be at both games. We're going to be, tweeting out, posting highlights from both games. The seats we have for both games are absolutely awesome. If you saw the Roman Anthony short I put out last night, those seats were absolutely electric. So it kind of sucks that we didn't get to finish the game at night. But we'll get to be in those seats again tomorrow, so that'll be a lot of fun. So subscribe. Don't miss out on the content. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll recap both games tomorrow, and that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, until next time, go Sox.